Check. Check, check, 1, 2, 1, 2. Check, check, check. Level seem good on your end? What? Check, check, 1, 2. Okay. Check, check, 1, 2, 1, 2. Check, 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 check. 1, 2, 1, 2. Check, check, check. Is that better? Still a little less, you think? Check, check. That sounds way louder now. Check, check, 1, 2, 1, 2. Check, 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 check. Live from the Sports Center of Connecticut, we bring you a cross-conference matchup in NCAA Division I women's hockey. As today, it's the Holy Cross Crusaders of Hockey East coming into town to take on your post-university Eagles. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for taking some time out of your Sunday to spend some with us. Backed by Kristen Brown, Jarrett Michaels, and our entire team of graduate assistants here at Post University. My name is Max Stapleton, and we're thrilled to be bringing you through today's action. This is Game 2 of this home-and-home series here on the East Coast, with Game 1 going the Crusaders' way 2-0 on Friday back in Worcester. Holy Cross outshot the Eagles 46-13 over the course of that game, and while Devin Amundsen was tremendous in between the pipes for Post, the Eagles' offense wasn't able to find the back of the net for the 5th time this season, and it wasn't enough to stop a red-hot Holy Cross Crusaders team. For those Crusaders, they come into this game, as I said, red hot at 6-2 overall, with both of their losses coming against top-tier opponents in Boston College and Delaware. Both of their senior netminders have been absolutely tremendous, and that might be an understatement if there is such a thing, as Brooke Larange picked up her second shutout of the season on Friday evening, and Abby Hornung has been equally great in net so far this year. So don't go anywhere, as we have our goalie matchup, starting lineups, the national anthem, the debut of some new uniforms, and of course the puck drop. It's all coming up next as you're watching Post University Women's Hockey. welcome into the Sports Center of Connecticut as we're just about a minute away from getting started in this interconference matchup between the Holy Cross Crusaders coming into this game at 6-2 overall and your Post University Eagles 1-7-1 overall on the season. That one win coming last week against Franklin Pierce University. Thought the offense had it going, but man, Holy Cross was able to shut them down in Worcester on Friday. Let's give you the starting goaltender matchup today. First, for the away squad, it's going to be the senior out of Ashland, Massachusetts, Abby Hornung, one of their two seniors who's having a tremendous season, making her fifth start of the year. A 1.51 goals against average, that's third in the Hockey East, and a 91.9 save percentage. Some great numbers for her this season. Meanwhile, for the home squad, it's going to be their captain, Hannah Saunders, senior out of Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, and went to Ashbury High School, making her seventh start this year. A 2.46 goals against average and a 92.3% save percentage. So that goals against average much higher than her opponent, but the save percentage a good 10% higher, or excuse me, a good tenth of a percentage higher, I should say. Both these squads are just getting ready, waiting for the clock to officially hit 1:30 before they're allowed to get underway. So let's get you the starting lineups for today's matchup. For the visitors, it's going to be Regan Chadwick, Alexia Moreau, and Lulu Rourke, the starting forward group. Taylor Cantillon, Sarah Rowe will be their defense pairing. And, of course, the aforementioned Abby Hornung will be in net. For the home squad, Tristan Curry, Jet Devlin, and Selena McCavicus, your starting forward group. It's going to be the second-line defensive pairing, Tallulah Cameron and Emma Hine. Cameron, the true freshman, Hine, the transfer. Two new faces who have made a big difference for this Eagles group who's wearing their brand new alternate uniforms. Boy, these are fresh looking. The orange sweaters with white and blue trim, blue pants, orange socks, and that blue helmet. Of course, the Crusaders in their black and purple uniforms. Fans making some noise, Eagles making some noise. The face-off is dropped, goes the Crusaders' way. And we are underway here in Shelton. Thanks so much for taking some time out of your Sunday to spend it with us. Max Stapleton joined alongside our entire graduate assistant crew. Meanwhile, the Crusaders were able to get in their offensive zone, but the Eagles took it over real quick and now dump it into their offensive end. Picking it up on the far end, it's the Crusaders now going through neutral ice. Caitlin Sullivan, Regan Chadwick tries a little chip pass to Alexia Moreau, and Moreau wasn't able to handle it cleanly. Wasn't the cleanest pass, I should say. And now the Eagles look to take over in their own zone. Selena McCavicus just trying to slide it forward and ended up being an errant pass there. Emily Crovo into the offensive zone. Sontag fires the shot. Noonan got her stick in front of it. And we have our first stoppage here, 45 seconds into the game. Boy, it was all Holy Cross over on Friday in Worcester. Just pulling up some of the stat numbers. 46-13, the shots on goal. Of course, the 2-0 shutout victory for those Crusaders. So the Eagles look to turn it around, and another big factor in that is going to be the face-off total today. They get one in their defensive zone, send it all the way down the ice, but it'll go to another icing, and it'll be a defensive zone face-off once again for Post University. Taking a look at that game on Friday once again, 28 face-offs as opposed to 18 in favor of Holy Cross. So almost every stat going the Crusaders' way. Of course, the Hockey East, one of the toughest conferences in all of D1 women's hockey, so somewhat to be expected. Face off to the left of Hannah Saunders. Again, after the tie-up, the Crusaders win it, just trying to keep it in the zone. And the Eagles look to take over and chip it out of there. Caitlin Sullivan and Hannah Deck to chase after it. Deck, the third-line defender. Of course, sisters with Brooklyn Deck, who's also in the starting lineup tonight. Meanwhile, the Eagles send it into that far corner of their offensive zone, and the Crusaders take over. Sullivan getting it past the blue line over to Gendron, who just dumps it in. Karis Kell the retrieve for Post University. Right now, both these teams just in a bit of a feeling out process. 90 seconds into this game as Jody Rose takes it into her offensive zone. A little bank pass to herself and ends up retrieving it, but gets cut off quickly. Skylar Sharfman, the defender, on the play. Sontag comes out with it. Now Lane Lewis, one of the veterans on this team, hands it off to Violet Carroll. Carroll has it turned over. Marley Webster takes it away. Ruby Mitchell was in there to help as well, and now Mitchell collects the puck herself. Karam battling for it on the near boards. It goes Naomi Herzig's way. And now Lane Lewis tries to cleave, goes all the way around. Marley Webster once again swings it forward for Peterson. And now Timmery Grom gets it out of the zone. Just over 2 minutes gone here in this first period. Not a whole lot of anything to talk about, but the puck's mostly been in the Crusaders' offensive zone early. Eagles doing a good job of trying to shut them down at neutral ice and at least getting the puck over on that end, although haven't been able to sustain any possession on that end yet. You'll hear me say that phrase a lot. Puck possession is something I like to focus on, especially here at this level, D1 women's hockey. It's often the biggest key to winning the game, in my opinion at least. So here come the Crusaders out of their own defensive zone. Amanda Aslan making a couple of great moves and just fans on the shot. Never forced Sonder to make the save, but got around a couple of Eagles defenders. And now Anna Bernaire slows things down for post. Coming through, Emma Hine hands it off to Peyton Tully, but able to keep it in was Cantillon, and she takes the long shot. Hannah Saunders was waiting for a long whistle there. Referees gave her some time. Ends up getting the stoppage at 16:52 in this game. I believe that was the first shot on goal on either side. Taking a look on the official stats, and yeah, that was. Face-off total so far, and 2-1 slim advantage in favor of the visitors, but make it 2-2 after that latest win for post. Karis Kell through her own defensive end. Tried the cross-ice pass, but went off the stick of Chadwick. And it's back on Kale's stick once again, but good job keeping it in. I believe that was Cantillon. No, that was Brooklyn Deck, actually, who was able to keep it in. But meanwhile, Callie Peterson has to get around a bunch of Crusaders. Does. Swings it around her own net for Kale, who fans on the pass. Looking for a number. It was a good play by a Crusaders defender. Lulu Rourke in there right now. There's Alexia Moreau who made the great turnover, and now she's in there chasing after the puck as well. So is Manny Gendron, the tie-up in the far corner for it. Karis Kell, Manny Gendron ends up going the Eagles' way, who just had more numbers. As the Crusaders were going off to get a change, but man, the Crusaders so heavy on a forecheck early in this game, trying to keep the puck over in that Eagles defensive zone. And Jet Devlin decides to take it back in there to slow things down, and the pass to Selena Mikavicus on the near side. Mikavicus smartly dumps it in as the rest of her teammates go off to get a change, and Selena will follow. Noah Farberman trying to make a good forecheck play in their own offensive zone, but can't do so. Georgia Stevens chasing after it. Eagles take over possession, but for how long is the question. Webster swings it back for Mitchell, who just slips down. Marley Webster's going to end up collecting her own pass at the near boards behind the net of Hannah Saunders. Man, 5 minutes into this game, and the Eagles just have had a hard time escaping their defensive zone. Wonder when the Crusaders are going to be able to put something on the board for it. Noonan tries to get it out to Stevens, and Stevens turned it over. Violet Carroll chasing after the loose puck. Carroll back up towards the blue line. Billa takes a shot, almost deflected off the stick of Mitchell, but ended up going wide of the net. Carroll once again into the far corner for Herzig. Herzig driving towards the net, getting handled by Marley Webster, spins around into the slot, takes the shot, blocked down by a body before it ever got to Hannah Saunders. Carroll behind the net of Saunders for Lewis. And Marley Webster trying to chase after it once again. Boy, this is a long defensive shift for a bunch of Eagles. They need a change desperately. I've said Marley Webster's name a lot of times during this period, and as on cue, it goes all the way down to the other side of the ice, and the Eagles get a platoon swap in. So another breakout opportunity here for the Crusaders. They try the long up ice pass. It's not going to be far enough for an icing. Tallulah Cameron just a little too fast. Riley Patfield trying to clear the defensive zone. Can't do so once again. Boy, a great play. Avery Matt slings it to her teammate. Shot on goal from Abby Garvin as Saunders makes the kick save. Garvin once again in the offensive zone. Swings it around, looking for a slot. Decides to take the shot. Easy save for Saunders. Avery Mackin handled by two Eagles behind the net. Jody Rose was one of them. Dangerous pass there. Trickled right in front of Hannah Saunders, and Cantillon takes one off the post. Cantillon from the blue line. Garvin driving towards the net. Nice play by Emma Hine to get it poke check that one free of any danger. Now Jody Rose in her own defensive zone makes one woman miss. Hands it off to Tallulah Cameron. Another cross-ice pass for Tim Marie Grom. Grom tries to chip it into the offensive end. And once again, the Crusaders able to just take over immediately once that puck crosses the blue line. See if that remains the case. Peterson slides it forward for Grom, who tries a little cross-ice pass, but a little too far for Tristan Curry. Now Caitlin Sullivan has it on her stick. Sullivan's taking it back behind her own net. Interesting move there. Callie Peterson takes over for post. Now the Eagles with a little bit of offensive possession. Peterson into that far corner, getting handled. Good play by Sullivan to force the turnover there, and Gendron takes over for Holy Cross. Charlotte Sontag with a head of steam into the offensive zone. Getting past Selena McCavic, the tough angled shot, loose rebound, and the slapper goes in! Caitlin Sullivan with a rocket makes it 1-0 Holy Cross. For Caitlin Sullivan, her first points of the season. And boy, that was a lot of sustained offensive pressure from the Crusaders. That was a rocket off the third line defender for Holy Cross, who's made a couple of great plays early in this first period. And just like that, it's a 1-0 Crusaders lead. We'll see what the official assist numbers come in, but just a couple of great opportunities. And Caitlin Sullivan found herself coming in from the blue line, driving towards the net, and just fired a hard slapper. Don't know if Saunders was really able to see it. She had to fight through a couple screens as well. Meanwhile, the Eagles looking to answer back here and counterpunch with it in the offensive zone, but turn it over quickly. Crusaders trying to break out, and they're able to do so. Emily Crovo hands it off to Sontag. Sontag, one against the world, almost able to get a shot off, gets bodied down to the ground by Georgia Stevens. Maddie Noonan takes it through neutral ice. Decides just to chip it forward, ends up going right to a Crusader. Now Holy Cross goes right to left on your screen. Herzig into the offensive zone after a good handoff pass. Looking for a lane into the slot, left it a little too far. Smart play by Anna Bernaire just to send it into the near corner. Anna Bia. Off to Carroll and the near corner, going up against Emma Hine, and Hine temporarily wins that battle, and to help Peyton Tully. Boy, 1 against 2, but Carroll looks like she might be winning the battle for Holy Cross along these near boards. Puck still loose, and now Lane Lewis comes away with it. Boy, Lewis out of nowhere ends up winning the battle, and the Crusaders retain possession. Scharfman into the far circle, looking for a lane into the slot. Puck trickles onto the net of Saunders. She poke-checked it away. Now Carroll tries one. It gets blocked down by Emma Hine. And Hine takes it on her stick, just smartly sends it into the defensive zone. Going to be a race for the loose puck here, and it's going to be an icing. So it doesn't allow Post University to change. It's a lot of tired legs out on the ice right now with 11 minutes left to go in the first. It's also not a whole lot of stoppages early in this first period. Boy, take a look at some of these stats. 6-0, the shot on goal total in favor of Holy Cross. 3-2, the face-off total. And Post, they do have 4 block shots, but have only gotten 1 shot total in this game, none of which on goal. 10:56 left to go in this first period. It was a defensive zone win for the Eagles, but they turned it over once again. Kept in by Holy Cross, and Regan Chadwick to collect. Sends it in deep. Alexia Moreau sends it in deeper. Now Lulu Rourke has it. Rourke with a good lane takes the shot. Boy, I think that surprised Rourke with how open she was looking to pass it, realized nobody was around her, and just fired away a wrister right into the chest of Hannah Saunders. So make it 7 shots on goal now for the Crusaders to still nilch for the Eagles. Boy, these Post uniforms look very clean. The new alternates. I say, I love that color of orange for a home jersey. Typically wearing their whites here at home. And of course, their dark purples or blues on the road. Meanwhile, Regan Chadwick hands off to Moreau. And Alexia Moreau dancing around the near boards, finally gets it back to Cantillon, who hands it right back off to Moreau, takes the chip shot, and Hannah Saunders has to glove that one down with 10-12 left to go on the first. Hasn't been quite the season for Hannah Saunders that it was last year, so to speak, but still some really good numbers. And of course, with a lot of the offensive and defensive help exiting during the offseason for Post from last year to this year, you knew it was going to be a bit more of a test for her entering. One of the best in the Newha, one of the best in the nation. Still looking to have her kind of breakout game here in the 2025 season. See if it's able to come today. She's looked very sharp so far, but the Eagles are trailing 1-0. Tallulah Cameron to pick up the loose puck in her own defensive zone. Tries to send it back behind the net of Saunders, and Karis Kale has it now. Back to Cameron. Boy, this is where the Eagles have really struggled, and therefore the Crusaders have really succeeded, is that forecheck. Post has had so much trouble just getting out of their own defensive zone, and just hard to beat. And Holy Cross is playing with that much speed and physicality. Jody Rose into her own offensive end. Timmerie Grom finds herself with the lane, takes the shot, and it gets on goal for the first time today. Kicked aside that time by Abby Hornung, who hasn't had to be fantastic today, but definitely going to be hard to beat if you aren't able to overwhelm her offensively, as she's had a tremendous year. Maddie Noonan turns it over to Herzig, and now Herzig into the offensive zone. Waited to get on sides, fires the shot, but misses the net. Just sent it way up and above. Goes around the boards right to the stick of Scharfman, who goes in between the legs. A couple of beautiful moves. Scharfman takes the shot, and I believe that one just missed wide. Boy, Skylar Scharfman showing off the dangles in her own offensive zone. Takes the slap shot, and that one deflected wide. Back to Herzig near the blue line. Wrist her, and that one got a piece of Hannah Saunders before going away from the net. And finally, the Eagles able to get it past the blue line and just trying to send it forward so they can get a couple of fresh legs out there. But once again, the Crusaders retain possession in their own defensive zone. Boy, Scharfman, a second-line defenseman with a couple of beautiful dangles in the offensive zone to get past a couple of Eagles defensemen. Eagles moving left to right. Anna Bernaire through the offensive end. Gets it to Tuccino, playing in her first game in a while. Peyton Tully has it now. Tried to set one into the slot for a driving Ruby Mitchell, but now the consequence is a 3-on-1, possibly 3-on-2 forming. Although not the best pass from Holy Cross. They had to slow it down. Ruby Mitchell loses an edge. And Marley Webster takes it the other way. A little bank pass up the ice, left way too long, intended for Tuccino, and it's going to end up being an icing with 7:43 left to go here in the first. This is only the 9th face-off of this game coming up. 5-3 in favor of Holy Cross. 5-3 in favor of Post, actually, I should say. Meanwhile, 19-2 the shot totals, and 10-1 the shot on goal totals in favor of the Crusaders. They get it, the offensive zone wins, send it back towards the blue line. Shot on goal from Sarah Rowe that time. Easily handled by Hannah Saunders. We have another face-off coming over to her left. Boy, when the Eagles were able to... Actually, you know what? That's going to lead us to our first media timeout, so I'll get into that story a little bit later. 7:37 left to go here in the first. It's a 1-0 Holy Cross lead. Back here at the Sports Center of Connecticut, 7:37 left to go in this first period. Holy Cross trying to add on to their 1-0 lead. Regan Chadwick almost able to do so, but had her shot blocked. Meanwhile, on the far end here, it's Hannah Deck taking it around the net, sends one into the slot. Boy, good pass, but Chadwick just couldn't handle it cleanly. Has it back on her stick. Tallulah Cameron trying to force the turnover, and Emma Hine, great block from one of the veteran defenders here for Post. Boy, that looked like a grade A opportunity. Another chance, and that time just missed the net, did Regan Chadwick. Now Lulu Rourke able to keep in the offensive zone, sends it all the way around the boards, and Chadwick's the first woman there. Handling it at the far end. Stops on dime, tries to get around Tallulah Cameron. Sends it over to Moreau, now to Scharfman. A little tip-in try for Crovo, but just didn't have it cleanly. One of the harder plays, that high deflection chance in hockey. Jody Rose trying to exit, Emma Hine trying to exit the zone. The hand goes up, and a delayed penalty coming up against Holy Cross. Jet Devlin has it with the extra skater on. Going over to the bench is Hannah Saunders officially. Boy, another scary takedown that time. I wonder if another hand might get raised after that play. Extra skater on. The shot from Callie Peterson gets blocked, and Holy Cross will have to touch up as we have our first penalty of the game coming up against the Crusaders. Caitlin Sullivan going to go to the penalty box. Actually, Caitlin Sullivan now exits the penalty box, and Emily Crovo going to enter the penalty box instead. And Caitlin Sullivan was fully in there with the door closed, and then it reopened, and Crovo went in instead. So the penalty assessed to the Holy Cross captain here. With 6:23 left to go in the first, and the first power play opportunity of the game for Post couldn't be coming at a more crucial time. And I think Brandon Brown, the head coach for Post, wants an explanation as to why it's not a 5-on-3. It looked like there was a second penalty in the offensive zone there when I believe it was Georgia Stevens got taken down. Either way, Stevens has it on her stick after the offensive zone win, sends it around the boards, intended for Maddie Noonan. Noonan back to the blue line, now for Stevens once again, and Stevens takes the shot looking for a deflection, and Farberman just deflected it wide. Holy Cross able to clear it all the way back down, 1:40 left to go on the woman advantage. Taking a look at some of the numbers for the teams on the power plays. Power play wise, 1 for 30 is Post University so far this year. That's actually second worst in the Newha, but Franklin Pierce still hasn't scored a goal on the power play. And meanwhile, on the penalty kill, great penalty kill for Holy Cross at 91.3%. That's third in Hockey East. Back into the offensive zone go the Eagles. Farberman takes the shot and went off the pad of Abby Hornung. And now Georgia Stevens has it back at the blue line. Stevens looking for a lane, fakes the shot, takes one, went in between the legs, but a good block by Lulu Rourke, almost kept in by the Eagles, and just able to clear it was Lulu Rourke. Stevens once again, past the blue line into the offensive zone, sends it back for Farberman, now to the far end for McCavikiss, a beautiful setup, but the pass just left a little bit behind Selena McCavikiss. 45 seconds left to go on the power play as Tristan Curry keeps it in for Post. Back towards the blue line, Hine sends it to the far end. McCavikiss back to Hine. Now to the near end to McCavikiss. She takes the shot, handled easily that time by Hornung. And it goes back out to the blue line for Emma Hine. With 25 seconds left to go, another shot attempt, kick aside from Hornung. Rebound chance, and the wraparound doesn't quite hit the net. Goes through her crease, and McCavikiss has it. Try to send one into the slot to Post University. Webster tries the shot attempt, saved by Hornung, rebound chance. And it's covered up by Hornung once again. Boy, Abby Hornung not tested much at all in the early parts of this first period. But here on the power play, that's about 4 shots on goal by my count from Post University. And Hornung has been in great position to save them all. The Ashland, Massachusetts native, a 91.9% save percentage this year. Even better number, 1.51 goals against average. Somebody loses their stick on the Holy Cross side. Tristan Curry takes the shot, blocked by Sullivan. The rebound chance handled by Hornung, and we're all back to even strength here as the Eagles go 0 for 1 on the power play. But boy, there's a lot to like if you're Brandon Brown or an Eagles fan with the woman advantage there for Post. They look sharp. Emma Hine still with possession in the offensive zone. Gets turned over. Alexia Moreau made a nice play. And now to the near side. Lulu Rourke sends another cross-ice pass for Regan Chadwick. Race for it. Karis Kale wins it. And Riley Patfield sends it around the boards for Peyton Tully. 3:48 left to go in this first period. A 1-0 Holy Cross lead. Naomi Herzig almost able to handle that pass. Instead it goes post way. Karis Kale. The little bank pass into the offensive zone past the red line, so no icing. And Kale actually almost wins the race herself. Hard hit into the boards from Sarah Rowe. And now Naomi Herzig comes out with it. And the Holy Cross Crusaders looking to break out here. Herzig once again through neutral ice. Gets it over to Aslan. Now for Lewis. Back to Herzig. Tripping, shooting, and a beautiful save from Hannah Saunders. Boy, Saunders had to stay with a 3-on-2 there that was well executed by Holy Cross. And I don't really think they had any chance at scoring anything, but they made something work, and Saunders had to keep her head on a swivel. Cantillon almost able to intercept that pass. Noonan with a high effort play just to keep it in the offensive zone of Post University. And now they go to the forecheck as Peyton Tully forces the turnover. Timmery Grom smartly just sends it on net. Forces Hornung to make the save. And now another long shot attempt all the way from the red line from Holy Cross forces Hannah Saunders to make the save. 2:39 left to go here in this first period. First goal of the season for Caitlin Sullivan, sophomore out of Needham, Massachusetts. I believe they're going to say that was unassisted, at least as of now. Maybe the assist numbers haven't come in yet. Charlotte Sontag tries to look for a deflection. Krovo tried to fire one, and Webster got her body in front of it. Boy, a driving Sontag almost had a grade A opportunity there. She takes another shot, and it goes right into the chest of Hannah Saunders. 2:24 left in this first. Boy, after the power play for Post University, that really looked sharp for the Eagles. They looked like they had 4, maybe 5 shots on goal with the woman advantage. It's once again back to Holy Cross keeping possession in their offensive zone. Here 5-on-5 at even strength. Alexia Moreau and Selena Mikavakis in the face-off circle. Mikavakis wins it. But once again, the Eagles quickly turn it over. Now a fight for the loose puck here in the near corner, and it ends up going Moreau's way. She drives one into the slot. Oh, beautiful save from Hannah Saunders, the loose puck. And they're going to say that Hannah Saunders covered it up. Boy, what a play by her. What a setup there from Holy Cross. Looked like it was Lulu Rourke and Alexia Moreau just on the same page. Pass right into the slot, and Hannah Saunders, once again with her head on a swivel, keeping the Eagles in this game. Another defensive zone win, trying to clear the zone was Post, not able to do so as it's kept in by Malloy. Loose puck in the near corner. Emma Hine chips it forward for Post to Selena Mikavakis, who gets sent down to the ice into the slot, and smartly Tallulah Cameron just lets it go into the far corner. Loose puck goes around the boards and back behind the netting of Hannah Saunders once again. Emma Hine there to try to collect it. Cameron just having a hard time getting out and past this Holy Cross forecheck. Mikavakis finally exits the defensive zone, and into the offensive zone they go as Curry takes a shot, hits a body, and deflects into the netting with 1:30 left in this first period. Shots on goal, 15-6. 15 shots on goal in the first period. That's almost a game's worth for Holy Cross. Total shots, 27-11 in this game. Of course, the face-off battle actually going the Eagles' way, 9-6. Lane Lewis takes over possession of the puck for Holy Cross. Herzig with a head of steam. Can't get it quite through the neutral zone. But Caitlin Sullivan, the goal scorer, already there to pick her up. Just sends it deep into the offensive zone where the Eagles will chase after it. Boy, forcing the turnover again on the forecheck is Holy Cross. Almost a grade A opportunity. That shot went through the crease from Violet Carroll. Now Carroll out to collect her own rebound here, going up against Callie Peterson. 1 minute left to go here in this first period that has been mostly Holy Cross. A little patch of momentum for Post University on the power play, but since then it's back to being the Crusaders type of game. Jody Rose through neutral ice just sends it in deep, chasing after it. Skylar Scharfman actually almost turned it over there. Timmery Grom with a nice stick. And Grom still fighting with Scharfman, actually Herzig along these near boards. Finally, Holy Cross able to get it past the blue line. Violet Carroll with 30 seconds left. Carroll turns it over. Karis Kell with a nice play, but instead the referee disagrees, and it looks like we're going to have a power play coming up for the Crusaders after a hooking penalty is going to be called on Callie Peterson. So we saw the first power play of the game for Post University, and it looked good. Meanwhile, let's see how this first power play of the game looks for Holy Cross University. Man, the first penalty of the year assigned to Callie Peterson. I made a note of that in my study. I wanted to double check. Yeah, so kind of a rare situation with Callie Peterson in the penalty box. 23 seconds left to go in the period. And, of course, the woman advantage for the first time today for the Crusaders. Amanda Aslan sends one into the slot, a tough angled shot actually, and Hannah Saunders was forced to make the save. 10 seconds left to go. Still in the offensive zone is Krovo as she fires away, and Saunders gloves it down once again with 6.5 left to go in this first period. Boy, on the power play this year, Holy Cross coming in at 10.7%. That's the 6th best in Hockey East, and penalty kill-wise, only a 63.6 percentage on the PK for Post University. That's the worst in the Newhaw, so looking to improve in that area is Post University. And that's going to do it here in this first period. A 1-0 Crusaders lead to close out this first. They'll enter the second on the power play, but it's the first goal of the year for the sophomore out of Needham, Massachusetts, Caitlin Sullivan. That puts the visitors on top 1-0. So don't go anywhere as we have our middle period of action coming up in just about 15 minutes. It's once again Holy Cross 1 and the Eagles 0 here on Post University Women's Hockey. Welcome back into the Sports Center of Connecticut here in Shelton as the Holy Cross Crusaders are out to a 1-0 lead over your Post University Eagles. Thanks so much for taking some time out of your Sunday to spend it with us. Max Stapleton joined alongside Kristen Brown, Jarrett Michaels, and our entire staff of postgraduate assistants. We're thrilled to be taking you through the action today. First goal of the season for Caitlin Sullivan about halfway through that first period. A rocket of a slap shot. That put Holy Cross on top 1-0. The Eagles had some momentum on their one power play. Meanwhile, it's the Crusaders who start this period on a power play of their own. 1:36 left to go on the woman advantage. As Herzig is ready, Grom is ready. The faceoff goes the Eagles' way, and we're underway here in this middle period of play. Thanks so much for joining us once again. And immediately the Eagles just send it all the way back down behind the net, try to clear off some of those seconds on the woman advantage for Holy Cross, who already have 2 shots on goal on this power play opportunity. The Eagles, by the way, 0 for 1 with 4 shots on goal officially on theirs. Lulu Rourke chips it into the offensive zone. Little bang pass to herself, but instead it goes to Karis Kale. But the Holy Cross Crusaders able to retain possession in their offensive zone. Naomi Herzig sends it to the near side for Moreau, and Moreau's shot gets blocked down by Tim-Marie Grom. Less than a minute left to go on the woman advantage. Eagles take over in their own defensive zone, looking for a lane to clear. Almost kept in by Alexia Moreau. She does retain possession at the neutral zone and decides just to swing it forward. It looked like Maddie Noonan body checked her hard into the boards. Nothing called, and we play on here as the Eagles clear all the way down. 1 minute gone here in the first period. In the second period. Team stat-wise in the first, it was a 17-6 shots on goal advantage as Krovo enters the offensive zone, but got held up by a post defender. Beautiful play there. And the Eagles once again clear it all the way down the ice. Less than 30 seconds left to go on the power play. It was 30-12 in the first period, shots total. But meanwhile, the face-off advantage actually went the Eagles' way, 10-8. So we'll see how the second period shapes up. Last push on the power play for Holy Cross. Krovo into the offensive zone. Turns it over, and a beautiful play from one of the Eagles' best defenders so far this year, Emma Hine, to clear it all the way down the ice. And we're back to even strength here between these two teams. Both of them 0 for 1 on the power play. Onside as Curry takes the shot, blocked down by Taylor Cantillon. And now Amanda Aslin tries to break out of her own defensive zone for Holy Cross. Handles it past the blue line, but turns it over to Mikavakis. And Mikavakis sends it into the offensive zone. Curry fighting for it. Back to Mikavakis. Her shot gets blocked. What a high-effort play. Taylor Cantillon making a couple of standout defensive plays early in this second. Webster able to keep it in and just sends it into the far corner where Tully will retrieve it. Tully fighting against Cantillon, and that pass just not handled cleanly from Karis Kale. Trickles all the way back into the post-defensive zone, and they'll look to reset, but an aggressive play here. That's Abby Garvin forcing the turnover on Ruby Mitchell. And it looks like Holy Cross is going to retain possession. Moreau's shot got deflected into the near boards. Meanwhile, Tutino tries to pick up the rebound. Fighting for it, Moreau and Tutino. It stays in the Holy Cross zone. Malloy takes the shot, blocked down by Peyton Tully, who was in a great position there. Fight for the rebound goes Regan Chadwick's way. Chadwick behind the net as Saunders handles the puck, stays away from a couple of Eagles defenders, still with possession, and finally turns it over. Peyton Tully through neutral ice sends it over to Alexia Tutino, two of the freshman line mates. Getting it to one another. Oh, a beautiful setup here. Chadwick takes the shot and a great save from Hannah Saunders. Saunders able to just kick that one into safety in the corner, but once again the forecheck for Holy Cross proving prevalent as they force the turnover in their offensive zone. A beautiful setup, another great save by Saunders. Rebound chance once again. That one went off the side of the net, and Malloy has it on her stick. She tries a tough angled shot, went off an Eagles defender. Into the far boards it goes for Violet Carroll. Carroll spins around, stops on a dime, looking for a lane, takes the shot, and kicked away by Hannah Saunders once again. Now Herzig into the slot. Her shot gets saved by Saunders, and Saunders has to cover it up finally. Boy, the standout goaltender with a couple of beautiful saves for Post University to keep this game at 1-0. Easy to forget that Holy Cross wasn't on the power play there. They were on it to start the period, but that time it was even strength, and they looked on point. A bunch of grade A scoring opportunities, and Hannah Saunders has to be breathing deep over there in her crease. Emma Hine collects the defensive zone win for Post University, and they are able to clear the zone. We're able to get a change thanks to the cover-up from Hannah Saunders as well. Now Herzig through her own defensive end. Tries the cross-ice pass for Carroll. A little bit high above the head of her and turned it over. Meanwhile, the Eagles trying to reset and get through neutral ice. They just had a hard time doing and setting up possession. Tallulah Cameron has in the offensive zone, looking for a lane to pass to. Gets blocked by Carroll. Her rebound shot goes wide of the net and into the far corner. It looks like it's going to clear the defensive zone. Naomi Herzig just sends it through neutral ice all the way into the near corner, where Violet Carroll wins the race to retrieve it, but gets held up against the boards. And boy, dangerous pass into the slot. I believe Hannah Saunders had to poke check her way into safety there. Puck goes to the blue line, long wrist shot, and Hannah Saunders covers it up once again. That was Caitlin Sullivan, who already has a goal to her name tonight. Looking for her second. Saunders denies her that chance around with 15:22 left to go here in this middle period. Face-off coming to the right of the Eagles netminder. And it goes the Crusaders' way. Tally to win to Emily Crovo that time around. Meanwhile, Sontag has it. Tough angled shot. Once again, shouldered and gloved down by Hannah Saunders. Taking a look in the second period so far, and as was the case in the first, Holy Cross coming out with a lot of determination from their locker room. 7-0 the shots on goal total in favor of the Crusaders here in the second. Almost another one there, but it trickles through the crease of Saunders and still in the offensive zone. Nice play by Karis Kale just to get Sarah Rowe out of the way. Finally, the Eagles are able to take over, but for how long? And it doesn't seem very long as they transition to the forecheck here. Charlotte Sontag through neutral ice, trying to get into the offensive zone and chips it forward. Meanwhile, Selena Mikavickas has it on her stick. Mikavickas just trying to send it farther up the ice. Once again, the pass doesn't really connect for Post University, trying to just get some offensive setup through neutral ice here. Both teams look a bit tired almost halfway through this middle period of play. There's not been a lot of stoppages in this game. That was certainly the case in the first and has remained true here in the second. It's going to be a battle of attrition all night long between these two teams if the pace of play keeps up. It's been a fun game to call between these two sides. 14:08 left to go here in the second period. And once again, just neutralized, kind of trading off possessions are the Eagles and the Crusaders. Abby Garvin in the far corner looking to break out for Holy Cross. Gets met by Selena Mikavickas. Tie up along the far boards. The Eagles come away with it this time around. Marley Webster just decides to send it on goal. Abby Hornung has to clear it out of the way to safety. Let's see if the Eagles can get something here on their forecheck. Ooh, dangerous pass there from Avery Matt. Peyton Tully forced the turnover. They send it in deep. Cantil on to retrieve. Pfeiffer bodies her to the boards. Pass into the slot there. Boy, if Bernaire was able to handle that one, it would have been a beautiful scoring chance. Instead, it trickles all the way back into the Eagles' defensive zone where they'll reset. And actually, they'll turn it over at neutral ice. Amanda Aslin takes over for Holy Cross. Now Regan Chadwick, one of the standouts for these Crusaders, and what has been a breakout year for her. Back to Hannah Deck, who gets around an Eagles defender but loses the puck, and now it goes back behind the net of Hannah Saunders. Marley Webster to retrieve. Not able to clear the defensive zone as Post University. Instead, it actually goes into the Holy Cross bench, I believe, and we'll have a face-off here in the Eagles' defensive zone. Some other stats here in the second period. Only a 2-2 face-off total, so tie between the two squads. Eagles do have 4 shots, but none of which are on goal. That's 11 shots for Holy Cross, 8 of which are on goal. Exactly 13 minutes left to go. Selena Mikavickas and Alexia Moreau, the two in the face-off circle, and Moreau wins it. Ooh, Erin handled that time from Anna Billa. And it ends up going out of the offensive zone of Holy Cross, and taking over is Emma Hine, trying to get around Hannah Deck, and Deck just bodies her to the ground. Emma Hine on the far boards to Devlin. Devlin looks to pass it along the blue line, but can't do so as Regan Chadwick gets out of the way. Possible 2-on-1 forming. Beautiful poke check from Tallulah Cameron to prevent a breakout attempt for Holy Cross. Cameron tried to take it herself through neutralize, had to get some help from Emma Hine. Side just to dump it in deep, and Anna Billa will reset things for the Crusaders. Ooh, errant pass went off the helmet, I believe, of Tristan Curry. She seems to be okay. Once again, the Crusaders looking to break out through neutral ice. Boy, looked like they might have caught the Eagles in a change, did Regan Chadwick, as she has a whole lot of space. Look for a pass into the slot, look for another pass. And a grade A scoring chance, but the Crusaders forward was handled. And now Tristan Curry through neutral ice to Karis Kale. Over to McCavic. She takes the shot. It's blocked down by Billa before it ever hit the net. Eagles trying to retain possession. They get a couple of fresh legs out there, but it's kept in. Good play by Tallulah Cameron, I believe, to keep it in the offensive zone. Now that was Riley Patfield, actually. Long shot attempt blocked down before it ever reached the net. Now Holy Cross going left to right on your screen. Herzig trying to get around Karis Kale. Can't do so. And the Eagles take over once again. Jody Rose through neutralized. Long shot on goal. Saved that time by Hornung. Rebound chance. And another save. Hornung gloves that down. Boy, probably the best couple of shifts we've seen from Post University. Even strength so far today. Comes with 11:24 left to go here in this second period. Well, the first time we've seen a couple of top-tier scoring chances for the Eagles, and they get an entire platoon swap in as the faceoff comes to the left of Hornung. Holy Cross wins it. Scharfman sends it around the boards. Trying to push it up is Caitlin Sullivan. But the Eagles force the turnover, and back to the blue line for Marley Webster. Webster takes a long wrister. Rebound chance in the slap shot. Saved by Abby Hornung. Boy, Hornung with a great blocker save there. Noah Farberman collects the loose puck through neutral ice. Tried to hit the driving Ruby Mitchell, but the pass was intercepted by Manny Gendron. But Farberman forces the turnover once again. Not able to clear the zone is Holy Cross. Charlotte Sontag will be able to here. And through neutral ice go the Crusaders. Sontag once again gets bodied hard. Peyton Tully with a great defensive play. Goes to Emily Krovo, sends it into the slot, but it hit Marley Webster's stick instead. Meanwhile, Crusaders able to keep in, but the Eagles do have possession and finally able to get it past the blue line. Lulu Rourke collects the loose puck in her own defensive zone, and great pass up the ice for Alexia Moreau. Moreau takes the shot. Boy, toe save that time from Hannah Saunders as Peyton Tully gets hit hard into the boards. And Lulu Rourke once again, she takes a tough angled shot, easily blockered aside. Saunders once again. Loose puck goes the Eagles' way. They try to clear the zone. Sarah Rose says no, thank you. And once again, Peyton Tully gets it out of there. 10 minutes left to go. Halfway through this game, 1-0. Holy Cross in the lead thanks to Caitlin Sullivan's first of the season back in the first period. Possible breakout forming here. Moreau sends it across the ice for Rourke. She takes a shot. Beautiful save, Hannah Saunders. Boy, the Eagles captain proving why she's one of the best in the country today, keeping her Eagles in this game and remaining to score 1-0. Emma Hine in her own defensive end, pass into the slot, and Saunders makes another tremendous save. 9:30 left in this middle period. Chadwick with a long shot, deflection in. Looks like it's going to belong to Naomi Herzig. And Holy Cross takes a 2-0 lead. For Herzig, her third goal of the season. The freshman out of Switzerland making her presence felt in Massachusetts, and here in Connecticut, it's a 2-0 Crusaders lead, and it felt like the Eagles were just starting to snatch some of that momentum right back. Able to get some grade A scoring chances on even strength opportunities, and Holy Cross has been in their offensive zone all night, and a long shot attempt, the deflection in, and Naomi Herzig picks up goal number 3 this year. So 2-0 Holy Cross out in front, under halfway, or a little over halfway through the second period. Amanda Aslin through neutral ice, tries to get met that time by Callie Peterson. She bank passes it around her and collects the pass up herself. Emily Krovo in the far corner. Callie Peterson trying to force the turnover with a hard body into the boards. And puck goes to the near boards. Once again, the Eagles looking to clear. They do so this time. Scharfman looking to retain possession in her own defensive end. Timmery Grom also chasing after it. Scharfman wins the race, but it hits up into the netting. And with 8:42 left to go in this middle period, that should bring us to our media timeout, and it will. Naomi Herzig picks up her third goal of the season to make it a 2. Excuse me, I thought we were going to go to our media timeout. Instead, it looks like we're going to play. So excuse me there. Georgia Stevens gets in the face-off circle, and Charlotte Sontag wins it for Holy Cross. But Once again, the Eagles looking to force that turnover on the forecheck, kept in by an Eagles defender, but Emily Crovo gets her body in front of the puck, and Crovo looking to go the other way with it. Getting met by Ruby Mitchell, pass into the slot, and Amanda Aslan just fanned on it. Another pass shot attempt that time actually hit the side of the net. Georgia Stevens couldn't handle it cleanly in her own defensive zone, and puck goes all the way back behind the net of Hannah Saunders. Around the boards for Noah Farberman. Farberman tried to send it forward, hit the stick of Lulu Rourke, and Holy Cross takes over. Ooh, that time Hannah Deck just fanned on the pass. Maddie Noonan sends it into the offensive zone, but it's going to be whistled down for offsides. Just under 8 left to go here in this second period, excuse me. And it does look like this is going to lead us to our media timeout. 7:59 left to go in the second. It's a 2-0 Holy Cross lead. Back in at the Sports Center of Connecticut. Under 8 left to go in this second period. A recently 2-0 Holy Cross lead. What is now awarded to Taylor Cantillon, but I believe it's going to end up getting changed to Herzig, and we'll confirm that for you in between periods. Meanwhile, long shot on goal, saved by Hornung there, but the Eagles get the loose puck. Tristan Curry behind the net of Corbung, looking for a wraparound shot into the slot, loose puck, and it gets poked away by Hornung in her crease. Meanwhile, Grom gets the rebound. Grom tries a tough angle, goes over the net once again, fighting our Tristan Curry and Hornung in the netminder's crease, and once again, loose puck, fighting for it are these two teams. Jet Devlin winning that race, but it looks like we might have a penalty coming up, and I believe this is going to be either a trip or a hook on the Eagles. And it will be a tripping penalty, and it looks like it will be Jet Devlin going off to the box. So we'll see our second power play of the game for Holy Cross. They're 0 for 1 so far today, with 3 shots on goal by my count. Looks like the unit out there for the Crusaders is going to be Emily Crovo, Lane Lewis, Charlotte Sontag, Amanda Aslan, and Taylor Cantillon. Goes back to Taylor Cantillon right at the blue line, looking for her lane, decides to just hand it off to Sontag. Sontag getting bodied hard by Jody Rose. Rose has to be careful. One of the league leaders in penalty minutes this year. Crovo over to into the crease. Woo, beautiful setup, and another rebound chance. And another rebound chance, they score! Emily Crovo, the captain, gets on the board and makes it 3-0 Holy Cross. Boy, just not able to control the rebounds was Post University that time. Hannah Saunders doing all she could do in between the pipes for the Eagles, but Emily Crovo found the puck on her stick with a wide open net, and there was no chance the captain was missing that one. Crovo collects her first goal of the year, her 4th point overall. And once again, it felt like the Eagles are actually playing better here in the second than they were in the first, but Holy Cross able to break through here in the second and tally 2 more, increase their lead to 3-0. Amanda Aslan wasn't able to handle possession, and Farberman just shoots it into the near corner. Under 7 minutes left here in the second period. Georgia Stevens gets bodied to the board hard as the puck trickles around the boards. Amanda Aslan, once again, not able to handle it the cleanest in the world. Maddie Noonan trying to force the turnover, but goes Holy Cross's way. Karis Kale able to keep it in, only temporarily as Sarah Rowe takes it out of the zone. Aslan through neutralized into the offensive zone, backhanded try, and boy, stick saved by Hannah Saunders that time. Boy, beautiful attempt from Sarah Rowe, falling to her knees, Again, the backhanded shot off and forcing Saunders to make the save. Noah Farberman in her own defensive end just chips it forward. And Anna Billa takes over with 6 minutes left to go. For Herzig. Through neutralized into the offensive zone. Herzig takes the wrist shot and bodied down by Hannah Saunders. Easy save that time for the Eagles netminder. Taking a look at the stats in this game, well, pretty dominant for Holy Cross, as you'd expect when it's a 3-0 lead. It's 32 shots on goal. We're not even through the second period yet. 2 posts 11 in this game. 48-26 shots total. It's a 15-14 post face-off advantage between these two teams. And it looks like they're going to get another one tallied to their win total there. Boy, Emma Hine with a head of steam gets past one defender but couldn't get past Anna Billa. Was able to force the turnover once again. Peyton Tully tried to move it up. Anna Billa able to take it away. And Holy Cross goes the other way with it. Errant pass that time goes all the way back behind the ice and behind the net of Hannah Saunders. No icing, saying that the Eagles defender could have moved quicker. So Post looks to break out once again. 5 minutes and 30 seconds left to go in the second period of play. Boy, the Eagles have had a lot of trouble breaking out. The forecheck, and Emily Crovo takes the shot. Rebound chance. Another beautiful save from Hannah Saunders. Boy, back-to-back beauties from Saunders. Meanwhile, a couple of bodies are fighting down on the ground. It looked like Manny Gendron gave a few extra shoves to Peyton Tully on the ice. Nothing called. And Alexia Tuccino takes over for Post University. Tully with it on her stick. Oh, and a hard hit into the boards. Boy, Hannah Deck went hard there, and puck goes into the bench of Holy Cross. Don't believe anything was called. Pretty physical game between these two squads. Peyton Tully with a little bit of a chip on her shoulder after getting bodied down earlier in the period was able to answer back to a different player. 3-0 Holy Cross out in front. Tim-Marie Grom loses the face-off to Alexia Moreau. Eagles trying to get out of their own defensive end. They do so, but Malloy has it on her stick, and Chadwick takes it back on sides. Chadwick gets around Ruby Mitchell, takes it behind the net of Saunders, looking for a lane to pass to. Oh, and a hard takedown there. Jet Devlin just bodied her to the ground, grabbed her and body slammed her down. Puck goes in right into the glove of Hannah Saunders, and that's a clear interference penalty from Jet Devlin. For the second time, she goes to the penalty box today. We'll have our third power play of the night coming up for Holy Cross with 4:24 left to go in the second period. 1 for 2 on the power play are the Crusaders so far today. First unit back out there looks like Rourke Herzig, Alexia Moreau, Anna Billa, and Regan Chadwick. The 5 for Holy Cross. It goes to Billa after the face-off win. Now Herzig in the far corner, we'll say. Billa once again, and those two just playing catch right now. Sends one into the slot for Chadwick. Chadwick with the backhanded try, blocked down. Another chance from Herzig gets blocked away. I believe it was Grom, and then I believe it was Mitchell who got the couple of blocks there. Alexia Moreau still with possession to the far end for Herzig. Pass left a little too long that time. Still with possession are the Crusaders into the near corner. Alexia Moreau has it. Looking for a lane behind the net of Saunders. Slowly taking her time, and Chadwick has it on her stick now. 1:20 left to go on the power play. Pass into the slot, left a little bit behind Alexia Moreau, and the Eagles are finally able to clear it all the way down the ice. Fresh 4 out there for Post University. Holy Cross and Katie LaChapelle in her 7th season doing the same. About halfway through this third power play opportunity of the game for Holy Cross. Penalty kill's been somewhat of a struggle for the Eagles this year, looking to change it around. Crovo sends it behind the net of Saunders. The Eagles able to force the turnover, but aren't able to retain possession. Instead, it's Holy Cross keeping it in, and Aslan going one-on-one against an Eagles defender and winning that battle for the most part. Back out to the blue line. Now a good pass into the slot, and Charlotte Sontag with a tough angled shot, and Saunders is able to make the easy save. 34 seconds left on the penalty assessed to Jet Devlin, her second of the game, if not mistaken. Looks like Holy Cross going with a fresh 5 out there. Skylar Scharfman, Sarah Rowe, Moreau, Chadwick, and Once again, Lulu Rourke back out there. Sharpman with a long wrist shot, and Saunders able to fight through the screen of Lulu Rourke to cover that one up. And we'll have a face-off once again to her right. Last non-conference game of the season for both of these teams. Only one conference game so far for Holy Cross, which seems a little strange this late into this season, but the rest of their schedule is all Hockey East opponents. Similar case, a little more non-conference action, or a little more conference action so far for the Eagles, but the rest of their opponents will be Nuha the entire season. 12 seconds left on the Jet Devlin penalty. Alexia Moreau tries to take it through neutral ice. Boy, Lulu Rourke gets bodied hard by Tristan Curry. 5 seconds left to go. Loose puck at neutral ice, and we're back at even strength between these two squads with just over 2 minutes left to go in this middle period of play. Post looking for some type of momentum heading into the locker room before the second intermission. Puck goes behind the net of Hannah Saunders. And the Eagles try a long up-ice pass intended for Selena Mikavakis, but didn't quite work out. Now the puck trickles back into the defensive zone. Eagles transition from back check to forecheck. Now they transition back to the back check. Violet Carroll, I should say, through neutral ice. Naomi Herzig. Herzig tried to send one into the slot. Pass was a no-look pass, and nobody was there to receive it. Jody Rose tried to get around Hannah Deck. Deck laid a good hit on her. Caitlin Sullivan collects, but instead it looks like that's actually going to be an interference penalty, I believe, on Hannah Deck. So as I was saying, the Eagles looking for some type of momentum before the second intermission, and Hannah Deck, frustrated with herself, just gifted them a chance at it here with 1:37 left to go. So if the Eagles don't score on this power play, they'll start the third period with a woman advantage. The Eagles, of course, have struggled on special teams so far this year. They're 0 for 1 today, which makes them 1 for 31 on the season on the power play. Penalty kill 91.3 entering today for Holy Cross, third best in the Hockey East. Puck clears the offensive zone of Post University right away on this power play opportunity, and now shorthanded, Emily Crovo gets into the offensive zone, takes a backhanded tough angled shot. Hannah Saunders pokes it into safety. Looks like an Eagle got tripped down to the ice there. No hands get raised, and shorthanded, Holy Cross retains possession in the offensive zone. Finally, the Eagles do take over. It's Jody Rose with it through neutral ice into the offensive zone, and a 2-on-1 forming. Boy, beautiful interception from Caitlin Sullivan. The defender got her stick in the way and took away the 2-on-1 opportunity for Post University. Under a minute left to go here in this second period. Minute 14 on the woman advantage for Post University. They're 0 for 1 today on the power play. 4 shots on their first one, none here on the second attempt. Almost too many women on the ice. Good job by, I believe it was Alex Young on the bench, controlling the doors and not allowing someone to get off the bench. Noah Farberman past the red line, tries to get past the blue line and just chips it forward. A little race for the puck, and it looks like Sullivan's going to win it, but Karis Kell keeps it in. To the far end for Stevens. Stevens tries to take another pass across the ice, gets deflected, and goes back to the blue line. Karis Kell with a long wrister, looking for a deflection, and the shot went wide of the net. Puck trickles around the boards. Karis Kell trying to win that race, but Violet Carroll does a good job just to get it past the blue line. One last push for the Eagles, but that will do it here in the second period. Eagles will start the third on the power play with a woman advantage for 23 seconds, but the story of the game, it's been all Holy Cross. Entering the game as one of the hottest teams in the nation and continuing to play that way here in Shelton. 2 goals in the period for the Crusaders. One of them coming off the stick of Naomi Herzig. So that was changed, by the way, from Cantelong to Herzig. And that was a deflection from her. That made it 2-0. And, of course, Emily Crovo, the captain, with her first goal of the season, made it 3-0 in favor of the Crusaders. So don't go anywhere, as we'll be back in 15 minutes. Once again, it's 3-0. Holy Cross on top as you're watching Post University Women's Hockey. Welcome back into the Sports Center of Connecticut as we're just about 30 seconds away from the start of this third and final period of play between the Holy Cross Crusaders coming into this one at 6-2 overall and your Post University Eagles at 1-7-1. So far in this game has been all Holy Cross through 2 periods of play. And the Eagles have to get a lot more offense going if they want to mount a 3-goal comeback here in the third. Goal so far in the first period. It was the first of the season for Caitlin Sullivan. Sontag and Gendron both got the assists. Naomi Herzig assisted by Cantillon and Lewis Lane in the second. And Emily Crovo got her first of the season, the captain for these Holy Cross Crusaders, in the second as well. So we're underway here in the third. Thanks so much for joining us on a lovely Sunday afternoon. It's starting to get colder here on the East Coast. Jet Devlin takes it through neutral ice with a head of steam, but gets bodied down to the ground hard by Lane Lewis and company. Into the far corner it goes. Eagles still with possession. Marley Webster has it on her stick. Now she takes the long wrist shot. Saved by Hornung. She dives on top of it. Battle for the loose puck. A couple of Eagles get taken down to the ground. And overall, we have a frozen puck. And the Eagles get the first shot attempt of this third period. Well, you got to like that if you're Brandon Brown and company, interim head coach in his first season for Post University, starting this third with a little bit of a chip on your shoulder, so to speak, and getting a good opportunity in the first grade A scoring chance right off the faceoff. Another great shot. That one off the stick of Noah Farberman. She's able to turn the Crusaders over, only temporarily, though, as Charlotte Sontag finally has it and gets it out of her defensive zone. Eagles send it right back in there. A little bit of a dump and chase game as they have to touch up on sides, but you see them transition over to the forecheck, and they have it back on their stick here at neutral ice. Callie Peterson gets past the red line, decides just to dump it in around the boards, and the Eagles defenders will get a change in. Meanwhile, heavy on the forecheck is Post University once again, almost able to keep it in, was Tim Marie Grom, but just exited the zone, and now Holy Cross able to turn over the Eagles at neutral ice. Now Skylar Scharfman forcing the turnover and sent it across the ice, and now resetting are the Crusaders. Up the ice for Lane Lewis, but that pass gets deflected and goes back behind Hannah Saunders' net. Callie Peterson, one of the true freshmen on this young Post University squad, sends it forward up and out of the defensive zone, but Hannah Deck collects it, and now the Crusaders look to break out. The Eagles got the first shot attempt and first real chance at anything in this period as they get another shot attempt technically there. A couple of deflections actually went off the hand of Skylar Scharfman as she was trying to knock it down. She knocked it up instead and ended up going on net, and Abby Hornung had to make a save. Taking a look at the statistics through the first 2 periods of play, 38-12, the shot on goal total in favor of Holy Cross. Of course, Holy Cross outshot Post University 46-13 on Friday. So Post improving a bit in that category, but still a lot to work on. Look a lot better to start off this third period, however. Puck gets tossed up into the air and comes down right on the stick of Sontag. Actually, it's Hannah Deck. Gets it to Lulu Rourke, and Rourke tried to chip it forward. Couldn't do so cleanly. Alexia Moreau sends the offensive zone. Chadwick all alone. Pass to Moreau, and her shot gets saved by Saunders. Boy, what a surprise breakout attempt that time for the Crusaders. They turn nothing into something there. Taylor Cantillon turns it over at neutral ice. Jet Devlin with a head of steam into the offensive zone. Back towards the blue line. Emma Hine just barely able to, actually not able to keep it in. Ruled offsides. Eagles do have to touch up. And now looking to break out is Holy Cross, moving right to left for the second time today. That pass goes into their own bench, and we'll have a stoppage here at 17:15 left in this third period of play. Some other statistics to look at in this game so far. The Crusaders, they're 1 for 3 on the power play chance. Eagles 0 for 2. It's a 19-19 face-off game between these two squads, so they've been even in that category and make it 20-19 in favor of Holy Cross after that latest defensive zone win. Amanda Aslan takes it past the blue line, takes the tough angled shot, knocked down, not covered up, and finally covered up by Hannah Saunders. Exactly 17 minutes left. Eagles bench making some noise, cheering on their captain and netminder. 17 minutes on the dot left to go here in this third. It's Amanda Aslan in the faceoff circle going up against Anna Bernaire for the Eagles. Puck is dropped, and Bernaire wins that one for Post. Ruby Mitchell sends it back around the net, but didn't look like Marley Webster was quite ready to receive that pass, and the Eagles turn it over. Ooh, loose puck into the slot. Hannah Saunders poke-checked it to her own teammate. And Eagles do end up getting out of their own zone as Alexia Tutino ices it. And we're going to not allow a change for Post University with 16:42. And we were talking about it earlier in this game. There was not a lot of stoppages through the first 2 periods of play. Well, we're only a little over 3 minutes here in the third, and we've already had quite a few. So maybe a slower pace, and who knows, that might help out the Eagles here in this third. It's going to be a defensive zone face-off. To the left of Hannah Saunders, Anna Bernaire in there for Post University. Charlotte Sontag loses it to Bernaire. But puck still loose, goes off the side of the net of Saunders. Bernaire ends up picking it up herself, and now the Eagles look to move left to right. Past the blue line she goes, red line, and blue line once again into the offensive zone. Looking for a pass into the slot, but was met by 4 different Crusaders, and the puck just kind of trickles over to the far boards. Errant pass that time. Emily Crovo takes over for Holy Cross. Boy, Crover getting handled hard by Peyton Tully, and that's going to be a penalty. Looks like Peyton Tully might get called for an interference penalty here as she's making her way towards the penalty box, waiting for confirmation. And yeah, it's going to be a holding penalty actually on Peyton Tully with 16:14 left to go. As aforementioned, Holy Cross, they're 1 for 3 already on the power play today, this being their 4th chance of the game. Power play goal earlier was Emily Crovo late in that second period. Scored on a rebound chance and really had just a wide open net to shoot on. Hannah Saunders with no chance. They win the offensive zone faceoff. Sontag now back up to the blue line for Cantillon and swings it over. Puck trickles back behind the net of Saunders into the far corner. Crovo couldn't handle the pass cleanly. Looked like she might have tripped up Timmery Grom. Hand gets raised, and this is moving from a power play to a 4-on-4. Timmery Grom did a great job that time, forcing the turnover herself, keeping her head on a swivel as Emily Crovo just mishandled the pass and then took it out of the defensive zone and got tripped up. Waiting for official call on the penalty. You got to assume it's going to be a tripping, and it is. Call officially goes against the Holy Cross captain, Crovo. So offensive zone face-off, win we'll call it for the Eagles, although very temporarily. As Violet Carroll takes it out of her own defensive zone through neutral ice and now looking for a lane to pass to. Going around Emma Hine, trying to get it around the net of Hannah Saunders. Gets met by 3 different Eagles defenders over the course of that stroll, so to speak. Now the Eagles come the other way. Emma Hine chips it forward on net smartly and forces Abby Hornung to cover it up. 15:13 left to go. It'll be a 4-on-4 opportunity for 1 minute and 21 seconds. Then the Eagles will have a power play, their third of the game. That'll be for only 15 seconds. McCavikus in the face-off circle for Post. She loses that one as Anna Bia takes over. Skylar Scharfman stops on a dime, sends a cross-ice pass for Herzig, and Herzig looks to exit her defensive zone. Through neutral ice she goes, now getting matched up with Ruby Mitchell. Herzig once again takes it around the net of Hannah Saunders and swings it back out to the post for Skylar Scharfman. Jody Rose forces the turnover for Post, able to clear the defensive zone, but it goes right back on the stick of Annabella. Once again, she has it in her own defensive end. Just about 1 minute left to go on the 4-on-4. Crusaders seem content just to kind of play a bit of keep away here with a lot of open ice. Regan Chadwick trying to get past a couple of Eagles defenders. She does and ends up getting the shot on goal. Easy save for Hannah Saunders. Another try. Boy, a slap shot. That time off the stick of Cantillon, and Saunders makes the save once again. 25 seconds left on 4-on-4 as Jody Rose goes the other way with it. Looks to meet Taylor Cantillon and does, but coming the other way are the Crusaders. Regan Chadwick in the near corner going up against Emma Hine. Chadwick stops on a dime, goes back behind the net of Hannah Saunders, and now battling with Jody Rose, one of the tougher, more physical defensemen in the new hub. We're officially on the Post University power play as Holy Cross goes down a woman coming out of the box. 6 seconds left on that woman advantage for Post University. Doesn't look like they're going to do much with it, but maybe get an opportunity here. Maddie Noonan with the long shot on goal. Easily stopped by Hornung. And now we're back to even strength between these two teams. Lane Lewis with a possible 2-on-1 forming over to Moreau, and I believe Saunders got a piece of that one. Beautiful setup on a breakaway chance for the Crusaders. Maddie Noonan moving from left to right, gets met at neutral ice, and now Moreau once again with it on her stick at the slot, takes the shot, and it goes over the netting of Hannah Saunders, and it gets out of the offensive zone. 13:30 left to go in this third period, a 3-0 Crusaders lead. It's been a more evenly played third period between these two squads. Holy Cross dumps it into their offensive zone. Not able to win the race as Emma Hine takes over for post. Bernaire through neutral ice, turns it over to Charlotte Sontag, and Sontag able to get back herself, one against the world into the slot, looking for a lane to pass to, and nobody was really there, but Crovo finds it on her stick. She takes the backhanded try. Saunders makes a kick save, loose puck out in front. Nobody has it yet, and finally, Georgia Stephen ends up with it on her stick. But once again, Holy Cross with possession of the puck, just looking to get back in that offensive zone. Scharfman for Gendron. Gendron dumps it in deep. Crovo into the slot, nobody there. And the Eagles try once again to break out, but a bad breakout pass, and Holy Cross takes over in their own zone. Cross-ice pass doesn't work out for the Crusaders as Karis Kale goes the other way. Good setup there for Karis Kale, but the shot just goes a little bit wide. Puck on a Crusader stick behind the net of Abby Hornung. Hard collision there between Tully and Scharfman, but nothing called, and we'll play on as Holy Cross goes the other way with it, not able to clear their defensive zone. Puck ends up going back on the net of Hornung. Abby Garvin tries to clear. Peterson keeps in, takes the shot, blocked, and the puck trickles into the near corner. Racing after it are the Eagles and Maddie Noonan. Back to Peterson, another shot attempt that time, looking for a deflection, saved by Hornung, and the rebound chance goes out into the far corner there. And able to clear the zone are the Crusaders, but Peterson takes it right back in for Post University. Gets met hard that time. Herzig handles her into the boards. Peterson has it once again, backhanded try, saved by, and a hard collision that time. Herzig goes after Jody Rose right in the crease of Abby Hornung after a great save, and we're seeing the physicality in this game get turned up a notch here in the third period. Now, the hit's not technically legal here in Division I women's hockey, but referees give a lot of leeway with that, especially right in front of the net of Abby Hornung, or any netminder for that matter. Emma Hine just chips it into the far corner, looking to play a bit of a possession game, but now going the other way are the Crusaders, and Hine doesn't really have a whole lot of help there as Alexia Moreau tries to force the turnover. Hine still ends up with it, however, now going left to right, trying to get out of her defensive zone. Leaves it for Grom, and Grom just dumps it in. Caitlin Sullivan with her first goal of the season all the way back in the first period, moves it forward for Moreau, and her pass gets intercepted by Rose. 11 minutes left to go in this third. Eagles still looking to break the ice and avoid getting shut out for the 6th time this season. It's only in game number 10 of the year for this squad. That's going to be an icing, so the 5 Eagles who are out there will have to stay out there. It's 10:50 left to go here in this third period. Let's take a look at some of these third period specific stats. 6-3, the shots on goal total in favor of the Crusaders, but 8-6 also in the Holy Cross favor. They also kind of dominated in the faceoff circle this period, although they lost it that time around, so make it a 7-4 Holy Cross advantage in that category this period. Battle for the puck behind the net as Carroll has it on her stick, trying to outlast Hannah Saunders. What a beautiful goal from Violet Carroll. The handles from Violet Carroll, unbelievable as she outweighs Hannah Saunders and makes it a 4-0 Holy Cross lead. For Violet Carroll, the freshman out of Milton, Massachusetts, her third goal of this freshman campaign for her, and that was a very, very impressive one. It's 4-0 in favor of the visitors here in the third. Not much you can do if you're Hannah Saunders out in front of the net. You tried to outlast Carroll as long as you could, but truth was that there wasn't a lot of defensive presence there to help her out. Carroll had all day to shoot that puck, and she took it, rightfully so. Just over 10 minutes left in this third period. Now a 4-goal lead for the Crusaders. Skylar Sharpman racing after it, handles Noah Farberman hard into the boards. And a backhanded try from the Eagles. That one stopped by Abby Hornung. Shot came off the stick of Marley Webster. Going the other way now. Amanda Aslin gets hit into the boards hard by Ruby Mitchell. Chadwick collects the loose puck into the slot from Moreau. She fans on the shot. Still has possession, however. For how long is the question as Georgia Stevens forces the turnover. Goes back to Stevens along the near boards. Actually, I believe that was Maddie Noonan who might have forced that turnover, and Noonan definitely forced that one. Puck is still loose along these near boards here. Ruby Mitchell's hits Regan Chadwick hard into the boards. Tristan Curry goes into the offensive zone. Curry won against the world here, but wins the battle there. Goes around the net. Still has possession on her stick. Looking for a lane to pass it, and smartly just decides to dump it into the far corner. Goes back to Curry after Devlin's quick chance. And finally, it gets turned over here as Emma Malloy takes over. Malloy still in her defensive zone, gives it back for Cantillon, and Lulu Rourke has it now. 9 minutes left to go here in this third and final period of play. The Eagles just looking for momentum to head into next week. Loose shot on goal that time from the blue line from Selena Mikavicus, easily covered up by Abby Hornung. We'll have a defensive zone face-off for the Crusaders with under 9 minutes left to go. And actually, that's going to take us to our media timeout. A 4-0 game in favor of the Crusaders, thanks to Violet Carroll's beautiful third goal of the season. Eight minutes, 51 seconds left to go here in this third period. A beautiful goal from Violet Carroll to make it a 4-0 Holy Cross advantage. Face-off comes to the left of Abby Hornung. Holy Cross wins it, and now they look to break out of their own defensive zone. Lane Lewis through neutral ice into the offensive zone, gets around an Eagles defender and forces Hannah Saunders to poke check that one into safety. Technically a save. Well, I don't believe that Lewis ever really got the shot off. Now Violet Carroll, back to Lewis, and a beautiful setup, a beautiful save from Hannah Saunders. Over to the near boards, trying to keep it in on the Crusaders, not able to do so, and Tristan Curry comes out the other way with it. Curry into the offensive zone. Stevens trying to keep it in as well. Actually, that's Selena Mikavicus trying to keep it in, but it ends up going Holy Cross's way. Eagles go off for a change, and out come the Crusaders. Lewis decides to dump it in, and the Crusaders are going to get a change of their own here, so Peterson comes left to right with it. From Mikavicus, now across the ice to Rose. To the far end, Riley Paffield, haven't said her name too many times tonight. She takes the backhanded try, easily stopped away by Abby Hornung, and Sharpman takes over after the loose puck. Boy, with a head of steam, Manny Gendron going into the offensive zone, takes the backhanded try, but missed wide of the netting that time around. Peterson collects the loose puck, now takes it back behind her own net to slow things down. 7:34 left to go in this third period. 4-0, Holy Cross out in front. Gendron just cross-checking Callie Peterson to the ground hard, but nothing called there. And Timmery Grom tries to send it into the offensive zone. Patfield to chase after it, getting her stick held by a Holy Cross defender. Once again, nothing called, and we'll play on. Anna Billa in the far corner. Hands it off to Emily Crovo, the captain. Crovo sends it back for one of her teammates. Hard to see the numbers from here. Billa it ended up being, and unable to clear the zone. Now they're able to clear the defensive zone. Cross-ice pass for Callie Peterson. And Georgia Stevens dumps it in. Chasing after her herself, but going to lose that race to Sarah Rowe. And Taylor Cantillon looks to take over. But another dominant game here for Holy Cross, is barring a massive comeback, they'll move to 7-2 on the season before starting conference play for the rest of the year. Again, barring a massive comeback, the Eagles, they'll move to 1-8-1 after this one with just about 6:30 left to go. Still in the Eagles' offensive zone, but they don't have possession of it. And Holy Cross content just to dump it all the way down the ice. No icing called, as both sides are going to be able to get a change in. Marley Webster trying to catch the Crusaders changing, but unable to do so that time. Devlin chasing after it. Ends up on the stick of Selena Mikavakis. One-time attempt slap shot from a long distance, stopped into the corner by Abby Hornung. Emma Hine looks to just send it in deep once again, but it gets taken over by the Crusaders, and that's Hannah Deck with it. Turned it over, and Selena Mikavakis once again with a high-effort play in the offensive zone. Loose puck goes all the way around the boards. Emma Hine retrieves it. Back for Curry as Curry takes a wrister. That one blocked down by Herzig, and it deflects up into the netting. Just over 5 minutes 30 left in this game. Total stats in this one. It's a 47-17 shot on goal advantage in favor of Holy Cross. Power. And it looks like they're going to put in a new goalie for whatever reason that is. It's going to be Campbell Crote, the freshman, actually making her first appearance of the season. So it does make somewhat sense here in a 4-0 lead, looking to get some minutes. They have two very good, very experienced senior goaltenders as Lane Lewis takes the shot. She scores! And Lane Lewis joins the party for Holy Cross. It's now a 5-0 Crusaders lead. How many first of the seasons today for the Crusaders? Make it another one. Lane Lewis picks up her first goal of this year. And that's the senior from New Trier Township High School in Winnetonka, Illinois. Finds a way to make it 5-0 on just a rocket of a wrist shot and a breakaway opportunity. So neutralized face-off, and now a 5-goal game goes in favor of the Eagles. Once again, just looking to gather some momentum before they hit the road next week. 5 minutes, 12 seconds left to go. And clearance attempt goes all the way on net down to Hannah Saunders, so no icing. Karis Kale sends it across the ice, and the Eagles move it up. Looks like Jody Rose lost an edge that time. Scharfman takes over. Through neutralized goes Holy Cross. Manny Gendron into the offensive zone, looking for somebody to pass to, but doesn't have a whole lot of help as they were in the middle of a change, and the Eagles try to take over. Long up ice pass intended for Timmerie Grom. Not going to be enough for an icing, but Scharfman is going to win the race. Stops on a dime, gets around Grom. Now hands off to Malloy, and the bank pass forward for Garvin. Garvin gets met by Ruby Mitchell as she enters the offensive zone. And now Bernaire fighting forward in that near corner. Pass intended for Avery Matt. Tully looking to intercept it. And Caitlin Sullivan comes away with it instead. Takes the shot from about half rink on goal. And with 4:14 left to go, it's a loose puck here in the defensive zone of the Eagles. Sullivan has it instead. Looking for a pass across the ice. Gets intercepted that time by Paige Piper. And Peyton Tully does the smart thing there. Gets past the red line and just dumps it in so the Eagles can get a change. Long pass there, gets deflected, but not far enough for an icing, I should say. And it will be one with 3:50 left to go here in this third period of play. Latest goal coming off the stick of Lane Lewis, her first of the year. No assist technically as of yet. Of course, the other goal of this third period was Violet Carroll's even strength goal where Lane Lewis picked up an assist. Shot attempt that time off the faceoff, got deflected a few times, and an easy save for Abby Hornung. Now coming out the other way, Lulu Rourke with a whole lot of speed, looking to get around Tallulah Cameron, can't do so. Does get the shot off, forces Hannah Saunders to make a save, but an easy one at that. And we're down to 3 minutes and 30 seconds left in this game. Emma Hine into the offensive zone, puck trickles around the boards, gets met a couple of times, and shot slot attempt gets blocked. Now Cameron from the blue line. She tries one, and it's blocked once again. Great play by Regan Chadwick. Chadwick was highlighted in the Women's College Hockey Report. Great Instagram follow if you don't follow them already. It's one of the players to watch out for and one of the standout players of this 2025-26 season. Couldn't agree with them more based on how she's played today. Of course, one of the point leaders in the Hockey East as well. Under 3 minutes left to go in this third period, and Taylor Cantillon takes over. Eagles looking for some momentum. Tristan Curry sends one into the slot, but the pass gets intercepted, and Herzig comes the other way, but not able to get out of her own defensive zone. Emma Malloy does just send it up into the netting, and actually into the bench, I should say, of the Eagles. So another defensive zone face-off coming up for Holy Cross. 2 minutes, 32 seconds left to go. After this game, both these teams play conference matchups for the rest of the season. For the Eagles, they'll head up to Vermont next week and take on St. Michael's College in a 2-game set. Jody Rose from behind the Holy Cross net gets hit into the boards hard by Skylar Scharfman, trying to answer back as Riley Patfield for her teammate. Those two still tangled up in the far corner. Finally, they separate as Holy Cross comes out the other way with it. Violet Carroll through neutral ice, already has a beautiful goal to her name today. Stops on a dime. And Naomi Herzig has it on her stick now. Boy, this line has been something special here today in Shelton. Under 2 minutes left to go in this game. 5-0, Holy Cross out in front. Riley Patfield just chips it forward as the rest of her Eagles teammates will get off and get a change. Manny Gendron couldn't handle that pass cleanly, so Callie Peterson has it on her stick. Patfield just dumps it in deep once again as she gets off. Puck back behind the net of Abby Hornung, who's looking for her first shutout of the season today. And if she can hold it straight for another 90 seconds, she'll get it. Charlotte Sontag into the far corner. Actually, it'd be interesting to see if this still counts as a shutout for Abby Hornung, as they did change their goalies. Just about a couple of minutes left to go, so it's not Hornung, it's Campbell Croty, I should say. 1 minute left to go here in this third period. Long up ice pass, left way too long for Alexia Tutino, who it was intended for in Holy Cross. Couple final pushes here in the final minute of play. Amanda Aslan through neutral ice, gives it off to Avery Mann. Into the offensive zone she goes, gets around Cameron, tough angle shot, hit the side of the net. And Emma Hine goes the other way with it for Post University. Maybe the last push of the game for the Eagles as Hine takes the shot in between the legs of Cantillon. Gets knocked down that time. Good save from the true freshman Campbell Croty. Georgia Stevens keeps that one in the offensive zone. Now looking to collect the loose puck. Couldn't quite do so as it goes back out to neutral ice. The Eagles still with possession, and Emma Hine chips it forward to herself. Cantillon and Malloy look like they're both there to collect as we get down to 15 seconds. Holy Cross looking to enter the offensive zone one last time today as Lulu Rourke has it at neutral ice. Gets past the blue line, just decides to send one on net. Hannah Saunders chips it into the corner, and that's going to do it here in Shelton, Connecticut. For the 6th time this season, the Eagles have been shut out. And it's a 5-0 Holy Cross lead, or Holy Cross win, as they sweep this series 2-0. Boy, what a game this was for Holy Cross today. They just dominated in most statistics. Shots on goal, 49-17 in favor of the Crusaders. Of course, they get a power play goal, 1 for 4 with the woman advantage there. Eagles drop 0 for 3 on the power play today. Face-off totals, Holy Cross does end up winning the face-off battle, but it was a close one, 27-25 in favor of the Crusaders. They actually outblocked Post University as well, 13-10. The goals were scoring early and often in this game. All got started in the first period. Caitlin Sullivan picked up her first of the season on a rocket of a slap shot. Manny Gendron and Charlotte Sontag both got the assists on that one, and that made it 1-0 heading into the second. About 10 minutes through the second period, Naomi Herzig was able to get an even strength goal. Taylor Cantillon, actually that was the deflection chance off the shot from Taylor Cantillon, and Lane Lewis picked up one of the assists as well. Only a couple of minutes later, Emily Crovo on the power play. The captain made it 3-0 in favor of Holy Cross. Give the assist there to Amanda Aslan and Charlotte Sontag. Then we get to the third period. Once again, about 10 minutes into the period, it was Violet Carroll with one of the best highlight goals you'll see here in Shelton all season long, outlasting and outweighting Hannah Saunders. Had all day to shoot it. She took all day and ended up making it 4-0. And finally, the final goal of this game, Lane Lewis on a breakaway opportunity right in front of the net, just took a bullet of a slap shot and got it right past Hannah Saunders, which made it 5-0 in favor of the visitors, where this will stay. I believe Abby Hornung is going to get credited with her first shutout of the season. Senior goaltender is having a tremendous start to this year. It's a real interesting decision coming up for Katie LaChapelle as they enter conference play as who's going to be your main goaltender between Hornung and Brooke Larange. But either way, that's going to do it for us here in Shelton. It's a 5-0 Holy Cross victory here in Connecticut. Meanwhile, for the Eagles next week, as aforementioned, they'll head up to Vermont and take on St. Michael's College. For Holy Cross next week, they have another home-and-home series, their second and third game in conference play against UConn. So thanks so much for joining us, led by our Athletics Communications Director, Michael Vesey, Jarrett Michaels, Kristen Brown. My name is Max Stapleton, and the rest of our graduate assistants who were thrilled to take you through today's action. We say thanks so much for taking time out of your Sunday. Once again, it's Holy Cross 5, the Eagles nothing. Have a good night, everybody.